What is it, exile? What do you want?
Fury and desire together again. Lovely and lovely. Facets so shiny, replete with the vim of murdered souls. My Malachi did the crafting. Beautiful work. Num-nums time, my little rapture. Have you ever been to the end of the world before, my king? Asked the blackest monkey. No, I have not, realized the Monkey King. There is my reason to go where you go, be where you be, my king, concluded the blackest monkey in a voice as warm and welcoming as death. Do you know who wrote that? Not a cockroach? Victorio Navalius, the people's poet of Psalm. He was my friend, and I betrayed him. Took his love and burned it before his eyes. Now I am betrayed. My heart burned black by the one man I loved. Malachi's devices, his creations, he loved them all, not me. He betrayed me then, said he loved me, then said he wanted me to die. He betrays me now. Let me suffer. Let me wither. Am I the one and only mistake that you ever made?
It's not every day you get to walk into a living, breathing nightmare.
It's not often we get to erase our failures.
That's twice I've underestimated you, sister. Twice now that your talents have proved to exceed even mine. So it looks like you'll be the one to finish what I so blindly started. Part of me wishes I'd died at your feet as was intended. The little girl within me that shies from darkness, from greatness. It was Malachi who reached out to me, who wrapped me in nightmare, made me his slave. He has shown me greatness beyond imagining, so much that I thought my mind would shatter under its weight. And although my mind remains intact, my dreams were not so fortunate. Malachi is in the beast's black core right now, harnessing all that the beast is and will be. He will destroy this world and forge it anew in the divine image of nightmare. Yet as powerful as Malachi has become, he is neither unreachable nor invulnerable. He sacrificed much to become the beast's prime servant, both in spirit and in flesh, yet 3 vital organs remain. His heart, lungs, and entrails, keepsakes of humanity lost. They will be our tickets into Malachi's private little show. Venture deeper, deep into Nightmare's abattoir. I'll follow when I'm able. You find me those organs. Malachi chose his 3 most loyal servants to guard those precious innards. His godless 3. Inquisitor Malagaro, Chevron of Umbra, and Doedri Darktongue. If the history books are accurate, High Templar Vol burned Malagaro and Doedri at the stake on his way to lay siege to Sarn. He didn't have to worry himself with Chevron. Brutus had already sorted her out. Yet slaves of nightmare seem to be shackled just as tightly to life as they are to the beast. I, of course, am living proof of that. Don't worry yourself with that little...
It seems I've underestimated piety. Good. I like surprises.
On this day, the eve of this rapturous completion, I honor those who have passed and whose passion and knowledge have brought us to the brink of salvation. Inquisitor Mulligan, a creative force without equal. Sharon of Ambra, an athlete of transcendent sensibility. Dwedri Takta, an idol of fervor and dedication. You taught me far more than I ever taught you, my students. My friends, we strove to make a greater world together.
What do you need now? Yes, the Gemling Queen has given of that black life of hers. For what? To wound and wake the beast that should have been slaughtered in its sleep. Diala's path would lead us into cataclysm. Follow your own path from now on.
Amused to the twist. When a boil is fat with infection, it glistens with the luster of false youth. Lance that boil, and it weeps its corruption away and shrivels to nothing. Whether by purpose or desire, you are the physician. Dodeso was always a good man at heart, chained to an eternity of love and triumph. You set him free. Nightmare gave Kaom everything he ever dreamed of. How did it feel to make that dream die? Beneath your feet, creation shivers and writhes. It yearns for transformation like a worm in a cocoon that dreams of wings and freedom. A transformation that only the beast can excite. A dark god of ancient sacrifice, a muse to the twisted and vile. The beast, the nightmare, the darkness, names given to it by mortals that think with slugs bound in. Upon death, our bodies return to the ground. Those that are marked with darkness nourish the corruption. Those that were mighty in life are stolen away. They are carved and crafted, manipulated with malevolent creativity into becoming Malachi is what every ghast aspires to be. The hands and eyes, the voice and mind of the beast itself. I see him in my dreams, forming his designs, crafting his tools, refining the chaos of nightmare into a vision. A future that you and I would not recognize. That neither you or I belong to unless, of course, we choose to accept the dark embrace. This is Malachi's greatest work. An act of invention like none other. Should ghasts have no use for words. To speak in nightmare is to speak in emotion and image, in thought. I see and feel the darkness, and that is how I know that the cataclysm was no accident. Its images are far too rich with intention, far too steeped in satisfaction. Malachi's satisfaction. Malachi devastated Malachi's apprentices. Chevron of Umbra, Dodre Darktongue, and Inquisitor Marigado. You'll find no more devoted servants in awe of nightmare and life. They were the three finest forgers of corruption in the Empire. I'm inclined to agree with Malachi on this one. It would have been such a waste to let them languish in death. Poor Deshret. Each had the wicked way with her, you see. Their turn at trying to subsume Deshret into the collective corruption and genius they are.
What is that in your eyes? That glistening, that softness? Is that pity? Take those pitying eyes away before I pluck. Take this. I've given everything else to him. My youth and beauty, my body and mind, my heart, and at last, the only thing he ever gave to me in return, my gemling power. This is all I have left. I entrust it to you, not a cockroach. Malachi taught me not to trust anyone. It is time to forget everything that Malachi taught me. The little cockroach witch. Malachi chose her over me. Use her then. No love for Diala.
Speak your mind. I am told that you have put King Calm down to his final rest. Cursebreaker, and now the murderer of legends. Great names hatch upon you like ticks on a roar. Diala's hopes may be crushed, but ours still thrive in you, Cursebreaker. From what Tasuni tells me, the beast's innards are now yours to penetrate. Diala has served her purpose. Now comes the time for you to serve yours. Find this Malachi that Diala mutters about so incessantly. If my understanding is true, then he is the mind of the beast. Kill him, and the body of Nightmare will die with him. Yes, Tasuni has informed me of Deshret's existence within the mines, but has been unable to tell me how she comes to be there. Another troubling hole in our knowledge of Nightmare. Regardless of her origins, I will not risk my Dekara in an attempt to free her. Even were she still flesh and blood, I would decide the same. She is our Sikema no longer, and we have fulfilled our duty to her memory many times over. Kira will not agree, yet her revolt will rise only as words. I am her Sikema, and she will not cross me. So, free Deshret if the opportunity arises. It is only right that she be allowed to return. Act with care.
What is it, Exile?
Before we walk this path together, it's important that you understand one thing about me. I don't regret a single thing that I've done. I set out to raise humanity up from the cloying mud of its fleshly ignorance. My mistake was not in the aspiration, but in the execution. Now I intend to correct that mistake. Really, I'm not helping you, Exile. You're helping me. So, have you found those juicy organs for me yet? Malachi knew exactly what he was doing when he created the Rapture. His primary concern, get inside the beast and take up the reins of true power. And his second objective, incite a cataclysm that would wipe the very thought of resistance from this land. The beast is the source of all thaumaturgy, the one power in this world that transforms what is real into what is imagined. The entire world is now at the mercy of one man's vision. It won't be the future I imagined, and it won't be the future you imagined either. While he remains within the black core, the only imagination that matters is Malachi's.
Critical, but I've seen better. poetry. We witches have to have some standards.
This day, the eve of this rapture's completion, I honor the knowledge that brought us to the brink of salvation.
I shall preserve you for eternity.
When I'm ready and not before. After Brutus, I'm glad I won't be seeing any more of your work.
You've come such a long way since we first met in Axiom prison. I was that close to snuffing you out then and there, sister. But now look at us, working together to destroy the greatest terror that Rayclast has ever known. If I were the crying type, it'd bring a tear to my eye.
you to know it.
What cannot be understood should be feared. It is the first rule that a child learns. There is no shame in my saying this. I fear you, witch. Yes?
It's obvious to everyone now.
There's no one like you, witch.
The beast learned that the hard way.
And the whole of Ray class will learn about it, one way or another.
So I guess this is the happily ever after they promised us when we were kids, right, Vanya?
For us, for Ray class, maybe. What about you, sister? Do you even know what that looks like for you?
There's plenty of happiness to go around now.
You deserve a piece of it. Emperor Vola's dead, for good this time.
And the entrance to the mine stands open. I suppose you'll be heading down there to
free us from the sickening supremacy of nightmare.
I was going to say to kick some nightmare ass.
I think I put it better.
Of course you did, sweets. Diala saw the mistakes of the past with her own eyes, and now she's given everything to fix them. Right, Vanya?
I don't know, Pataris. I saw people die for each other in San. I saw clarity, resolution in their eyes. In Diala's eyes, I see ghosts.
Those eyes have seen horrors that we can't even imagine.
Maybe. But this sacrifice of hers, I think it was more like a deal, and Diala didn't quite get what she bargained for. Oyun gave us a home.
Our lives back.
Appreciate the good ones when you find them in Ray class.
It's not like there are many. Tasuni, he's a con man.
Pataris just doesn't understand him.
I understand that he gets his every need catered for by talking in riddles and telling lies.
The truth about the nightmare. He makes sense of the chaos as best he can.
How can we possibly know whether what he's telling us is the truth or not?
We can't. But who else is there to ask? Piety. She still lives.
Then she needs to die again.
Permanently this time. I honestly don't know who I am more scared of. The beast or that black-hearted witch.
It's the combination that scares me. And it should scare you too, Exile. Killed the Sword King?
Dureso wasn't actually alive, Pataris.
Dureso must have thought he was alive.
True. Thinking and being, a bit of a blurred line here in Rayclast.
Exactly.
Do you need help with something?
Greetings.
The little girl walked into a dark, dark cave. The little girl met a dark, dark beast. The little girl ate its dark, dark heart. My Malachi is dead. We dreamed only the greatest dreams. Malachi and I. A truly eternal empire. Eternal life. Eternal love. A future no longer afraid of the past. Eternal lies. Eternal loss. Those are our true gifts to Rayclast. This land could not have asked for a worse king and queen. No love for dear.
I was right to have faith in you, Cursebreaker. You have succeeded where we have failed. You have slain a creature that was thought to live forever in the minds of those who came before you. Vol, Daresso, Kaum, Deshret, the greatest champions Rayclast has seen in the last 300 years. You stood where they fell. Now you are the champion of champions, and Rayclast should bow at your feet in gratitude. You certainly have my gratitude, and that of my Akara. We have been exiled from our land by fear and misguided duty. Now we may return, to ride where we will, live how we wish. Cursebreaker, giver of freedom, we thank you. Go where you are needed.
I knew you would embrace the beast, yet I couldn't know that you would squeeze the very life from it. Honestly, didn't think you had that much love in you. Now one thing remains to be seen. Your regard, your touch, your embrace can mean only doom for the loved. Please, choose your loves wisely, witch, lest you break poor Oriath's heart. Yes, that's right. Oriath. Upon the mountain high, a gateway has opened. One that shall lead you back home. Hurry. For as if Deshret were able, should thank you for dispatching her tormentors, Malachi's wicked little trio. You have to content yourself with my thanks instead. Deshret has been avenged, as is the way of the Madaketh. Tidiness helps one sleep at night.
not before.
This'll do nicely, Exile.
Yes?
eyeballs away.
Speak your mind.
Hello. Grew up in Oriath. Used to love the city. Spent my youth combing the woods around it for sulphite. No one else knew how to handle the stuff, but the Templar had a voracious appetite for it. Needed it to power whatever godforsaken machines they were building. Made a very healthy living for myself until, well, let's just say, for a while I thought I was a prophet. The Templar don't take so kindly to people calling themselves prophets. Locked me up in a madhouse, but I dug my way out. The Templar like escapees even less than they like false prophets. So here I am, digging around in eternal rubble.
Yes.
What do you want?
Greetings. Used to mine the stuff for the Templar. Don't know why they needed all that power. Didn't really care to find out neither. Less I know about their business, the better. Stopped mining it for a while when my brain turned to mush. Heard and saw things that weren't really there. All better now, though. This'll do nicely, Exile.
not before. and not before.
Captain Tavares, altitude is imperative to forging a stable connection with the prime resonator in Theopolis. Power source is equally vital. Locate a fissure in the mountainside and lower a conductive cable into it. The deeper, the better. It will take an immense amount of thaumaturgical energy to execute the successful disintegration and transmission of objects, both inanimate and animate, between Highgate and Theopolis. For that kind of power, we must tap the origin. I needn't remind you of the consequences should either of those elements prove deficient. That is why I would like you, Tavares, to be the first to test the result.
After everything I've done, it took an Oriathan to get these slaves up off their shackled asses and fighting. I guess the Templar should have treated their lessers better than their slaves, eh? Well, I'm not about to turn down a gift from Kitava. If he wants slave and outcast to join hands, then let's remind these Templar that they're flesh and blood, just like us. Utulamakora is what they call me. I'm what passes for a chief around here. Well, I put the steel in their hands. I tell them where to stab, where to run, where to die. If that doesn't make me a chief, blood isn't the only currency we need to earn to buy our freedom. We can kill all the Templar mongrels we like out there. It won't matter a damn if we don't get inside their stronghold, the Templar courts. Might as well put my bloody chains back on right now. Problem is, there's some sort of witchery surrounding the place. Only those who see the truth with faithful eyes are getting in there. The power of innocence. It's all in the eyes, you see. Yet blessed Kitava has answered my prayers and sent us just the pair of eyes we need. The ever-faithful Justikar Casticus. He's there in the control blocks right now, smiting my people with self-righteous. Yes? Take a deep breath. Inhale the twin stink of exploitation and oppression. Yes, these pens and cells have been our home away from home since the first card we were brought here by Marseus Lioneye, their great hero of the Empire. One of the best slavers they ever had. Not that he was the only one. Captain Sigmund Fairgraves funded many an expedition off the whipped backs of Karui children. High Templar Dominus was only the latest in a long line of men to grow rich by trading in misery. Oriathan. Overseer's Tower, this place is called. And you know the worst thing about the men who stood here, watching us, cursing us, descending to whip and kick us like curs? They were slaves, like us, willing to turn on their brethren for a bigger cage and a few extra rations. I can't quite put into words what a pleasure it was to take this tower, to rip the greedy eyes from those traitors. Did they see it coming? I hope so. Well, I know his other names. The Black Spirit, the Cannibal King, the Ravenous One. He was all of those things before Tsukuhama slashed out his eyes, before Valakor drowned him in the sea, before Hinekora whipped him and condemned him to immortal darkness. Kitava has learned from the suffering inflicted upon him, learned what cruelty is from his own flesh and blood, learned what it means to be a slave. Now he hungers for freedom, not merely for himself, for all of us who have suffered under whip and shackle. Old Red Eyes. He's been quiet for a long time, just like Kitava and Tsukohama, all of the old gods. Now innocence has woken up, and with him, power like I've never seen the Templar wield before. It's all right though. We slaves, we've got our own god looking out for us now. I can see him in the eyes of my brothers and sisters, smell him in the blood we've spilled, hear his call in the screams of the fallen. I don't rightly know where the gods have been or what's brought them crawling back. There's two parts to the Templar, the grim face and the spotty ass. Out front you've got the Templar courts, usually the last place our Hatungos see if they're stupid enough to preach their craft within a Templar's hearing. Oriath's woodmongers must do a roaring trade with that place. When the wind blows right, you can even smell the aroma of barbecue blasphemer from here. The arse end, that's the chamber of innocence. It's where the real earnest believing gets done, where the young Templar go to pay their respects to God Almighty and get the good sense baptized out of their heads. I've not seen the inside of the chamber myself, but you can feel it from over a block away. Like there's an eye in your gut, peering through your insides, looking for even the time. With Dominus away in Rayclast, someone had to keep the wheels of oppression turning. Avarius was only too happy to take the job. It had plenty of practice already, of course. It was Avarius who led some of the largest and most crippling raids upon the Ngāmakanui and the Ngākura Makoi. It was on his orders that men, women and children were shackled and shipped like cattle to Theopolis. And it was Avarius who spent 5,000 Karui lives building his Templar courts and his chamber of innocence, who had wives and daughters scrub their husband and father's blood from the stones so as to preserve their purity. Talamoana.
An exile returned. How is that even possible? Rising out of the darkness to claim the souls of our enemies, like Hinekora in the stories my mother used to tell me. Well, your divine intervention gave us just the diversion we needed to take this tower. So if you keep doing things like that, then I might have to start believing in the gods again. And thank you for finishing off that last overseer for us. I don't know what sort of mother could have birthed that land-loving whale, but we were lucky he wasn't here when we took this tower. He'd have spread us across the floor like butter on a piece of bread. Here, take something for helping us in this hopeless fight of ours. We'd been planning it for months, spreading the word, stealing weapons, gathering support. Utula and his followers did most of the dirty work. I just carried a few messages here and there. Should have known I'd end up like this when the real fighting started. In the darkest hour before dawn, that's when we broke our chains. And as many overseer necks as we could wrap our hands around. We took the Panopticon as the sun rose over Theopolis, and that's as far as we got. When you're up against cold steel and colder hearts, there's only so far that... Few of us can say that we've devoted our lives to anything greater than ourselves. Can you? I think Utula can. Since the day I met him, I've seen Utula do nothing that wasn't in the service of his people. He's a smart one. He could have escaped. He could have sailed off to Namakanui and never looked back. Yet there he stands, our herald of freedom. I might die of this wound, yet I'd be giving but a fraction of what Utula has to honor the Karui way. Freedom comes to those who fight.
Unlike these assorted ignorami, I'm not surprised to see you here. The beast is dead, all thanks to you, I suppose. I was listening to the beast's death rattles when these lunatics broke in, wrecked the place, and dragged me here to tend to their cuts and bruises. Thankfully, I was able to bring some of my paraphernalia with me. The balance of power is shifting in your favor, O murderer of nightmares. If I am in possession of anything that might smooth the transition of governance, don't hesitate to ask. Some time ago, I fabricated a device able to sense and amplify the corrupt murmurings of Rayclast, a miasmeter. I listened to those whispers for years, lingering beyond sane comprehension. And then the scream. Such profound agony that my mind was nearly sundered by its percussion. I thought another cataclysm might be upon us. But no, it was you, slaying the beast. I was witness to a singularly potent cadence. This corruption, I am convinced that it holds the very key to our human history, and with it, our very existence. In contrast to the company she keeps, Lani has quite an astute mind. I put it down to that Oriathan education she's managed somehow to procure. Whilst quelling whatever resistance you might meet in this noble coup of yours, you'd be well advised to look to Lani for counsel. She'd make the finest of advisors, second only to myself, of course. Utula might appear to conduct himself with honesty and honor, yet has all the telltale signs of a desperate man born of desperate times. As the cornered animal will bite and claw, the cornered man will lie, steal, and murder in the name of survival. It's understandable, and deadly if underestimated. I can't really fault Justicar Casticus, a man committed heart and soul to upholding the law. Of course, law isn't the same thing as justice, and men like Casticus lack the imagination necessary to make that distinction. Avarice, innocence. I'm not sure there's a great deal of difference. Around the time I heard the beast's mortal scream, the newly appointed High Templar Avarius went through something of a revelation. The manner in which he speaks and acts now would indicate that he believes, without doubt, that he is some earthly embodiment of God. That's faith for you. I gave piety everything, devoted my life to her work. What did that thankless bitch do for me in return? Left me here to polish her beakers while she pursued glory in Rayclast. Oh. You killed her, did you? Likely as not, you'd have killed me too had I been there. In that case, perhaps we both got exactly what we deserved. Piety and I have devoted ourselves to the betterment of the human condition. As for our methods, Piety had a saying that summed it up nicely. Would you consider the feelings of the stones when constructing a glorious cathedral in the name of God? Casticus supplied us with slaves, mostly Kardui, and I put them to good use. In fact, I believe their participation in my experiments elevated them from squalor to splendor. Our subjects were able to give their otherwise meaningless lives. Some time ago, I fabricated a device able to sense and amplify the corrupt murmurings of Rayclast, a miasmeter. I listened to those whispers for years, lingering beyond sane comprehension. And then the scream. Such profound agony that my mind was nearly sundered by its percussion. I thought another cataclysm might be upon us. But no, it was you, slaying the beast. I was witness to a singularly potent cadence. This corruption, I am convinced that it holds the very key to our human history, and with it, our very existence. Yet, farewell,